chosen one, sent to stop you.
As someone who grew up with the Prince of Persia franchise on the PS2, which was one of the only games I had on my first console, I've always felt drawn to the Assassin's Creed series. The thrill of running up walls and taking down enemies has always been right up my alley. Surprisingly, Assassin's Creed 3 is only the second game in the franchise I've beaten. While I've dabbled in the original Assassin's Creed and its sequel, as well as a little bit of Revelations and Odyssey, it's Brotherhood that truly captured my heart and attention.
Ezio Auditore.
What's always fascinated me about Assassin's Creed is its ability to transport players into history, allowing us to witness geography, public figures, and even time-altering events. The concept of genetic memory is splendid, and when you add parkour and assassins into the mix, it's a recipe that takes my money every time. However, I must admit, I'm not well versed in the lore. I only know that the fourth game is pirate themed, so I'm ready with my Pirates of the Caribbean score in hand. As a fan who hasn't played the entire catalog, I often wonder if that's a good or a bad thing, especially given the hate or mixed reception Ubisoft has received lately. Regardless, I believe the games are evolving well, and I'm eager to dive into Valhalla and experience life as a Viking for the first time. The Assassin's Creed franchise has its roots in the Prince of Persia series, which laid the groundwork for its parkour mechanics and stealth gameplay.
No books.
Ezio Altair.
No wisdom. Just you, fratello mio. Requiescat in pace, Altair.
And now Connor are iconic characters that have defined this franchise over the years. Each game has offered its unique take on the Assassin-Templar conflict set against the backdrop of significant historical events. What draws me to Assassin's Creed is how it allows players to explore pivotal moments in history while engaging in a narrative that's both thrilling and thought-provoking. The themes of identity, conflict, and time travel are woven throughout the series, and it's this intricate storytelling that keeps me coming back for more. Assassin's Creed 3 is set during the American Revolution, and while the history is fascinating, I found Boston to be less parkour-friendly than I expected. The environment felt restrictive, with more houses and churches than sprawling rooftops to leap across. Nevertheless, the story integrates well with the history, focusing on Connor's journey as he navigates a world of conflict and ideology. The game tackles profound themes, particularly the relationship between Connor and his father, Haytham, who stand on opposite sides of a philosophical and literal war. Their clash is compelling, especially when you realize that only one of them will survive by the end. The new gameplay mechanics introduced in AC3, such as tree climbing and double executions, add a fresh twist. However, the animation-based parkour system can be frustrating. There were moments when I wished I had more control, especially during time-based missions where the character would automatically climb everything in his path, making it tedious at times. While stealth is often a choice, there are mandatory stealth missions that can feel a little bit restrictive. That said, the combat system is fluid and enjoyable, and I often found myself wishing I could experience the game at higher frame rates and quality settings for an even better experience. Connor's story resonates with me personally, especially as someone from a country that has its own history with British colonialism. His idealism and the internal struggles he faces throughout the game are compelling. The fact that the game starts with Hatham as the protagonist for the first few hours is bold. Imagine starting a Batman game with Mr. Freeze and discovering that Arnold is Bruce's dad. We also encounter historical figures like Lafayette, Jefferson, and George Washington himself, which adds depth to the narrative. However, the real-world subplot involving Desmond didn't capture my interest until the very end. The choice he makes about sacrifice felt somewhat lacking, especially since the player doesn't get a say in the matter, despite the character having a choice to make. As for the final boss, I believe it should have been Hatham, given the weight of his character and ideologies. While I understand the choice of Charles Lee as the antagonist from an ideological perspective, it felt repetitive, echoing sentiments I've had with other games where the same tropes are used. Wink wink, Voss.
The definition of insanity is...
In terms of critical reception, I'm not entirely sure where AC3 stands, but I've seen plenty of discussions about it online. Personally, I appreciate the graphical fidelity for a 2012 game. It's pretty impressive. The story is decently written, and I admire the internal conflict Connor experiences, especially with his father.
Excellent. Shall we be off?
While AC3 has its weaknesses, such as the overly animated movements and my limited exploration of side quests and DLC, I still find it to be a solid game. I finished it in around 10 hours, which is a nice snack compared to the 50-hour behemoths that modern games tend to be. I don't consider it better than Brotherhood due to nostalgia, nor do I think it surpasses Odyssey, but it holds its own. The impact of AC3 on the franchise and its ability to generate discussions and videos online is undeniable, and I hope to contribute to that conversation. As I ponder the future, I can see myself revisiting AC3 in 2025, 2026, and beyond. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Assassin's Creed 3. It's been a pleasure sharing my thoughts with you. And again, thank you for giving me your time today. Peace.
Care you don't destroy.